Alright everybody, welcome back to another stream from Fireside Casts. My name is Antlers. I'm joined by production on the casting production crew. So it's just gonna be me today talking with everybody. I'm nixing my previous idea of having like an ASMR stream where I ASMR cast on top of Team Fortress 2 gameplay. I think people just aren't ready for that yet. I think that's the problem. So today we're going to be watching the Nieces and Nephews versus Insert Cheesy Bread. We're back on Bagel, which is no good for me because I just learned the callouts for this map like 10 minutes ago. That's not entirely true. I lied to you, but it'd be funny if that was true. Either way, we just watched recently two other teams play this map not too long ago, so I'm pretty excited to see how these teams take it a little bit differently. Again, my name is Antlers. I'm here on the side of Fireside Casts coming at you all. Just a reminder before the game starts, we do humbly ask that you follow and subscribe if this is the kind of content that interests you. With that, I believe we have Nieces and Nephews readied up though, and we're waiting on Insert Cheesy Bread. I wish I could throw this out to my other co-caster right now to get the idea of what's going on next. But in the meantime, I'm ready to talk about how these teams have been doing so far, if we know that information at production. Do you have that kind of information on hand? The information regarding never mind. Insert Cheesy Bread just readied up. With this, we're going to be going live. Insert Cheesy Bread versus Nieces and Nephews. Nieces and Nephews being on the blue side. And we're going to be watching the demo man of Nieces and Nephews actually completely miss his rollout due to hitting the attic area in his spawn. So he's going to be really late to spawn. That's an exclamation mark Mooma in chat. And next we're watching as Chinese Dave is taking mid by storm, putting up some good traps, but not really spamming out too much. He does actually pick up Cornejo 1015. I'm gonna figure out like different names for these people as I go on. And with this, it looks like Red is taking up a lot of space, taking up a lot of kills, doing a lot of damage. Now just Hastium alive left in his concrete, and he does go down. So that is a full wipe on the side of Nieces and Nephews. Insert Cheesy Bread taking the first mid. I really wonder how much of an impact Kreven's missed rollout played into that mid though, because that really just did set them back a bit. That being said though, we are watching as they're trying to push through ramp room right now into grass. Looks like most of the team is set up there, but it is still full Uber ad on the side of Insert Cheesy Bread. So we're watching as the blue team does push out slowly but surely into their grass area. Spam does come through. Haas does get a pick on One Eye 817. Okay, I'm starting to pick up these names a little bit more. And Cornejo does go down as well, so does 34 Log. And that's both to Chonchi, who was in their backlines for a bit, but Haas does pick up Kreven. So, despite blue team having just gotten their Uber, they did lose all of their players, and now they've got to wait for Kreven to push up again. Also, damage being traded in the house right now, as we're waiting for Ubers to get traded out. One Eye and Cornejo does go down to Haas as well. That's really not what you're looking for when you're starting a push, but it looks like blue team's going to push forward anyway, as Holden is going to be waiting for My Can Sweets Uber, I believe. They're not going to aggressively Uber pop outside of their house. But in the meantime, we are just kind of relaxing a little bit. Haas does go in pretty hard, and he does make it out. Chonchi also getting aggressive in the house, but so far no picks have been traded on for either team. As we're waiting for blue team to make a move, Red is just happy to sit here. They've popped down 2 minutes of time since this has started. One Eye does go down in exchange with Chonchi. Uber gets popped out on the side of Nieces and Nephews, and it looks like Insert Cheesy Bread is still holding theirs. So we might see even Insert Cheesy Bread not use it all. They do use. I bite my tongue. But it looks like with this, Mycan Sweets is going to go down. The only player left also going down, and that's going to be another staggered wipe on the side of nieces and nephews.
In 30 seconds.
And at this point, there's 30 seconds left in the timer. At this point, all you can do is regroup, make for one last push. Uber's not in the picture, just pure DM. Chauncey does go down, but Cornejo does get picked up as well. It looks like Krevin wanted to see if he could make some space, but on that jumping in, it looks like the entire team except for Hassium is left alive here. Hassium trying to do what he can. He gets air piped, trying to get a pick on Chinese Dave. Doesn't work out, and that's the first round on the side of Insert Cheesy Bread. But next up, we're going to be watching again. I'm going to make sure Krevin doesn't make that mistake and jump into the attic. He does jump into the attic again. That's no good. With that, we're going to be probably watching as Chinese Dave gets to mid a little bit faster. I'm going to switch to his cam. And now we're just going to watch a little bit of spam which comes across point. Mycan Sweets takes a little bit of damage early, but the poke just continues to occur. As it looks like a lot of red team is taking house control early on, with Chauncey taking down one eye. He might be traded out for that. But it looks as if that... No, picks are still pretty even throughout. Yeah, they're still pretty even throughout. We're just going to be waiting for who makes the next big play. With that, a Soldier Bomb coming in. Hassium taking down 8-Bit and Holden, and jumping away with his life. Chinese Dave does go down, and this is the first mid. I mean, technically, with the capture from Insert Cheese Bread, I don't know if they won the mid officially until just now. I call this a nieces and nephews mid win. That's a personal trait. With that, as my cat yowls in the background, we're going to be watching as we now have to watch a mid-hold break from Insert Cheesy Bread. They're being forward held right now in their own house. And we're going to see what kind of shenanigans they get put up to. Looks like there's going to be a sticky bomb coming in. This might be a 4-person stack. It's actually not. This is a 4-person stack. They might have miscounted the Ubers. No, okay, this is my mistake. This is my mistake. The Uber gets forced on the side of Mycan Sweets. This is very good information if you are on the red team. And with that, Mycan Sweets actually might still die post-Uber anyway. That's fantastic news if you are Insert Cheesy Bread. That was an Uber sack wave. And now it's Hassium, Krevin, and One Eye trying to hold down their own. Krevin does get picked off earlier from Haas. And Haas is going to be continuing to push that advantage across point with the rest of his team. As Chinese Dave does get another capture. It looks like One Eye is going to go down as well. So, earlier, that was my mistake on the Uber counting situation. That's my fault, everybody. With this, though, it looks like Insert Cheesy Bread is back in the cockpit as far as getting control over the map. Hassium and Krevin both go down to Chauncey and Chinese Dave. One Eye also getting picked off by Hans. This is an aggressive Uber coming out. And Mycans does get caught out by it. Cornejo does get caught out by it as well. It's just 34 Log who does get picked off, and this is a full team wipe. Red team choosing to go back to their initial forward hold rather than going through and trying to camp their spawn, which is probably a respectable thing to do, in my opinion. But we're still going to be watching this. This is going to be another 30% Uber advantage from the side of Insert Cheesy Bread. Aggressive forward soldier spam still occurring, and we're going to be hanging out, I guess, waiting for this next sack wave coming in from nieces and nephews. Should they choose to put one out. And at this point, we're just watching spam get traded out. No one's really committing to a fight one way or another. Although the Uber just does now come up for Insert Cheesy Bread. Timing is still even throughout, although Mycan Sweet still has 30% to get their Uber. And I'm wondering if they know that. Because they're still holding pretty passively in their house, all things considered. 90% now. They're starting to try to make a little bit more space, but Mycans is still leading the team. It looks like they're trying to rotate through, maybe to their ramp room, due to the aggressive soldier spam happening in the other space. Chauncey does get picked off. He does try to make a flank. It doesn't work out for him. We're going to be waiting for Haas to make either a similar mistake or to back up to his team. He's starting to get pressured out a little bit more from Krevin and One Eye. And once we do this, Krevin does get picked off. The Uber does get traded. But, I mean, there's just so many more players that Haas can shoot at, right? The Uber for blue team does make it to the point. Hassium does kill Chinese Dave. Catches up to his medic on the enemy team spawn. They're getting jumped by their soldiers a little bit. Making Sweet does go down. Chansey gets air shot. And everyone else is getting traded out one way or another. It looks like Hassium is still in the backline doing his own little frag fest. And the point is going to go back to Nieces and Nephews, but with 15 seconds remaining for insert cheesy bread. And with this, we're going to be watching as we are waiting for insert cheesy bread's response. It looks like a forward hold is being attempted, although the Ubers are even throughout. The forward hold is being ignored a little bit, I should say. It's no longer in effect. And Krevin does get picked off really early. That's a mistake on the side of Nieces and Nephews. And that actually might force the team of Nieces and Nephews to back up into their house again, onto their concrete. As they trade out a little bit of spam, we have one scout on the side of Coolstuff trying to buy his team more time on the point. And he's doing a really good job, actually. He picked up a kill. He's getting spammed out a little bit harder than he'd like, but he bought enough team for his time to catch up, which is agree. And now we are watching as Nieces and Nephews actually does take a bit more aggressive control again. Chansey does try to go for a high bomb. It makes more space than damage. And then we are going to be sitting back again as we are watching everyone come back into the counter fight. 4 seconds remaining on the timer. Nieces and Nephews needs to capture this point. Uber comes out from the side of insert cheesy bread. And it looks like it's just the remaining Demo and Soldier with 8-Bit remaining in the back lines. 34 log fighting him, and 8-Bit does go down. Krevin is unfortunately a little bit too deep in the grass lines. I'm afraid he's going to get caught out any second now, that is true. 34 log does get 2 extra picks. Mikens does go down though in exchange. But Haas gets picked up by Coolstuff, and Chinese Dave goes down to One Eye. Coolstuff picks up Vertigo. And that's another wipe on the side of insert cheesy bread, and that might be 8-Bit versus the world. But the world again is too heavy for one man, and this is a round actually for Nieces and Nephews. Kind of a scrappy underdog sort of fight, but I honestly think that they played that really well, given that they were on the back foot for their entire starting half of that mid. With this, when you're watching one more time, Krevin continues to jump into the attic. I'm just gonna stop commenting on that, I think. And we're gonna be watching as Chinese Dave makes it to the mid. He's starting to see some sticky spam early. And we are watching as Krevin actually is pushing into the right house a little bit, trying to make some space for his soldier in the house. Looks like the left house is also taking a lot of extra damage as One Eye gets picked off. And this early 2 soldier picks and a demo pick that insert cheesy bread is going to take advantage of. Coolstuff does end up going down as well. Now it's Mikens just running away with his team. Hopefully 34 log can stop the entire team push from happening too close into his spawn. But it looks like that is the case. Vertigo gets picked off, and we are now watching as this is an even Uber, and it's 20% advantage mostly. Holden does get his Uber a little bit earlier, but it shouldn't be too much of a difference. We have Coolstuff kind of tiptoeing across the point, seeing if he can just dance in and out really quickly to gather some eyes. And that might have actually worked, as Chinese Dave does get piped down. And we're going to be seeing as Holden gets attempted to get stacked on. Hassium doesn't hit the rockets he really needs to in that situation. And this is a convincing mid conversion. Although Mikens does get forced by Vertigo, Vertigo might be able to escape with this as well. Holden is still holding that Uber. And now we are watching as the Uber does get traded back out. And we're going to see 8-Bit push forward, maybe getting a pick that he wants on the Mikens. You're seeing he's really focusing in. He does get the Mikens pick, Coolstuff and One Eye get picked up in the background. Chansey getting picked up on the side. And this is an insert cheesy bread mid capture again. Although timing's evened out throughout. So while this is happening, we're watching as Nieces and Nephews was kind of regrouping back in their spawn. Although Insert Cheesy Bread isn't really doing a complete forward hold. Their medic is just now getting back to the concrete of Nieces and Nephews. The spam is coming in. It looks like we're getting a little bit more control in through concrete. I'm interested to see how that will play out long term, as One Eye does get picked off. Hassim gets picked off. This is where you start getting worried about the flank that Hass is making right now onto Mikan Sweets. He does get the pick. It's not a drop, but this is really, really unfortunate, as even while he dies, he gets a pick. That's Krevin going down, and this is a continued Insert Cheesy Bread hold. We are currently watching as right now we're waiting for a different sack wave to come across. It's now 100% Uber advantage on the side of Insert Cheesy Bread. One Eye is choosing not to attempt too much for the better, because 8-bit did feed a little bit harder than he probably should have. And we are waiting for Nieces and Nephews to make a little bit of a comeback here. Chinese Dave does get piped out of the fight. So this is actually some really good space being made early on. Hass goes down, traded with 34 loud. And the Uber does get put out by Holden. This is Insert Cheesy Bread's trying to come back in, but there's just so many players, it's going to be hard to see how this is going to work out for them. I say that though, Krevin does go down. Mikens does live for the moment. I say that too soon. And it looks like at this point, while damage was traded, it was traded unevenly. I don't know if Nieces and Nephews are focusing the right players. The DPM is there, but I don't know if the focus is there, if they're shooting the right targets at the same time, which is a huge factor in a heavy DM game like Team Fortress 2. That being said, we are watching a house push out onto concrete. Looks like some space is being made, but Cornejo does go down to 8-bit in that concrete area, and that might stifle a push for the meantime. That being said, doesn't seem like it's going to stop Nieces and Nephews. They're walking through the spam anyway, and they're pushing on. There's a 4-second timer left. Fighting through concrete is going to work. For how long, we don't know. Hassian does jump on top of the point. He gets a pick on Hass. Chinese Dave is going to spam down Hassian. Gets killed by Cornejo, but it looks like only Cornejo is left on the point versus Uber and 3 players. So he's going to get 8-bit, but unfortunately it's not going to be enough. This is going to be another round for the side of Insert Cheesy Bread. Despite that even, it's still good rounds being dropped in the chat. You can tell that the players here really are just doing it for the love of the game. Okay, that's good. This is improvement on the demo rollout situation that I promised not to commentate on any further. New mid coming across here. Both scouts on low ground here trying to tickle the point's toes, I should say, but unfortunately it's still locked. Chanshi and Vertigo going down in the side house. That means it's now, unfortunately with Cornejo and One Eye going down, this is 2v2 down in the Davy Jones locker of Team Fortress 2 respawn timers, 4v4 on the point. And while blue team is trying to capture the point, looks like red team is starting to come back with some heavier numbers. Krevin does get put down, and this is going to be probably a mid hold for the side of Insert Cheesy Bread. They're now 30 seconds down. Although the Ubers are even, Mikens is just getting his a little bit later than Holden. We're going to be watching as we're going to see a point capture happen in real time, but it looks like it's going to be still pretty heavily countered. This is just going to delay some respawners, and I think that they allowed the point capture to allow for Chanchi to respawn. Holden does get put down to pretty low HP, but he holds onto Zuber. With this, we are going to be watching as Insert Cheesy Bread is going to start pushing back from their concrete onto the point. Vertigo taking a little bit of space early, and soldiers jump across the point really high now. Mikens does evade them though. With that, we're watching Holden get a pick onto 34 log, One Eye going down to the various concrete shenanigans that are occurring. It's now 2v3 with point advantage going to Insert Cheesy Bread. With this, we're going to be watching Chinese Dave actually putting up a... I thought he was going for a deeper trap than he was. The Uber gets put out by Mikens pretty early on. He starts looking for somebody. Holden just pops his Uber a little bit later, and it looks like they're going to get Mikens pick out of that exchange. 34 log does kill Hass and Chinese Dave. but 8-Bit looks like the only person left fighting on top of the point. We do have a soldier in the back lines in Chonchi. He gets up the health pack. They know he's there. And he might try to jump in. There's actually Vertigo and Chonchi, who both choose to run through the house, maybe live. I would recommend that they try to live at least. I can't control what they do. And Chonchi actually going forward so far to kill Weekend Sweets. That's rough. But Krevin kills Holden and Chinese Dave in the meantime. So he's really holding his own there. And with that, while the point does get transferred back to Insert Cheesy Bread, it's not going to be for long. It does allow just in time for Mika and Sweet to spawn sooner. And that's going to be everything that happened so far in the fight for off Bagel here between Insert Cheesy Bread and Nieces and Nephews. We're all watching as 8-Bit slowly clearing the traps a little bit, although more are ready to be committed. Chonchi is dying a little bit earlier with Cornejo. I believe that was a sack wave, but I'm not entirely sure why, as it's even Ubers and they're not holding that much space. One Eye does go down. Oh, that's an important factor to consider. I didn't realize this until now. Holden is on crits, which means that he's going to be building primarily first, and also he's going to be... Okay, I'm understanding from here on out as well, this might be a radio cast for a second. So I'm just going to do the best that I can here. Mikens is dancing around really well as he continues to live from various soldier bombs that occur around him. And Holden does have crits. He's about to use it. He does use it. He's not going to get Mikens Sweets. 8-Bit does get picked up, but Mikens is going to have his 90% Uber. And he's going to, I believe he's going to live in the backlines. He's going to keep his Uber. Holden's crits did get a couple picks, but the Uber is still coming out. One Eye and Cornejo pushing across the point. With this, at this point, it looks like it's going to be a mid-capture in a second with Nieces and Nephews who get their Uber. And now a demo down and an Uber lost, worth everything that they've committed to try and win that point. Because they haven't even captured the point, which is really the downside of everything here. And at this point, we're going to be watching One Eye sack in onto Holden. He doesn't get any damage off, unfortunately. And here we're going to be watching as Mikens respawns 55% disadvantage, but it is crit disadvantage, I believe. No, Holden switched back to Uber. So it's just 60% disadvantage on Uber. And as Blue Team takes across their concrete, is now 15 seconds left on the side of Insert Cheesy Bread. And that's 10 seconds left that Nieces and Nephews has to make this push. Vertigo is in the backlines trying to get a pick, but he is 2v1 by the scouts. Holden and Mikens both go down. So it's now 3v3 across the point, 3v2 as 34 Log does die as well. One Eye goes down, and that's a complete Nieces and Nephews wipe. Insert Cheesy Bread capture the point, and this is now 3-1 on the side of Insert Cheesy Bread. Okay, and I understand that stream is back now as well. If you can only hear me for some reason, make sure to refresh your stream so you can see as well. Now we're going to be watching the rollout for what could be potentially the final round of everything happening tonight, as Insert Cheesy Bread and Nieces and Nephews meet head on once more. I'm going to watch the players fighting for right house. That's Chonchi getting a pick on One Eye. They're pushing through really aggressively into Mike and Sweets, gets Hassium criveted, and 34 Log goes down on the side. So that's just Cornejo versus the world. He doesn't make it. And that's a full ace. Or a team ace, I should say. For the side of Insert Cheesy Bread, a completely dominant mid. And now we're going to be watching this. There's a very aggressive forward hold happening in house. Hopefully we can see Nieces and Nephews come back, make this game last a little bit longer. That'd be really good. Next we see Cornejo pushing through his ramp successfully, making space for his team. His team is able to push through into grass. And now it looks like Red is backing up a little bit. Chonchi is so deep behind. I don't know if they're going to be expecting this. Haas does kill Hassium. I guess, is it Haas? I feel like it's Haas. But Chonchi is on Miken Sweets. Miken does survive the situation. And I don't know, Cornejo is alone on point. Haas does kill him. Vertigo does die. Haas dies as well. Now it looks like just 34 log versus a team of 3. Miken's versus 1. I'm pushing through the right-hand house. But this might be a missed capture point, as Holden does have full Uber. Miken's only has 70%. And we're going to be going through a little bit further. Hastium does jump across, make some space against the Uber that happened. It's now just Chinese Dave on the Uber, with Cornejo trying to capture the point wherever he can. 1v3, he does go down, One Eye does go down as well. 34 log now the only surviving player in the fight. Krevin is going to try and back out as he can. 34 log does go down. Krevin does back up, I think, but potentially not. No, it looks like they both players choose to surrender as Chonchi was left on 4 HP. So now it's going to be a recommit, another fight, although there's a minute left for Insert Cheesy Bread to hold on to this point, secure this map win. Let's see how Nieces and Nephews takes it back. And it's already not looking good. One Eye does go down. Cornejo on the side here, pushing up through the left house. Hastium pushing across the point, taking some good spam, making some good space. Fortunately, he does die. Miken's good dies. Cornejo dies. Krevin dies. 34 log, once again, one of the only surviving players. He does get caught out as well by Vertigo and 8-bit. And it's starting to look pretty staggered on the side of Nieces and Nephews in their fights that they're holding out right now, which is no good. Here we are gonna watch as Insert Cheesy Bread is kind of on their last real push before garbage time begins. Hastium taking a lot of early damage, does get picked off really early in from the concentrated soldier spam happening through this main area and house. And as Hastium is waiting to respawn, 34 log goes down. This is just taking seconds down. It's 3 seconds left. Timer's ticking down, trap happens, Uber gets popped off, and there we go. It's 4-1. Insert Cheesy Bread. There's GG's in chat. And everybody, that is your TF2CC coverage of day 2, as far as Fireside is concerned, at least. Really well done. I'm gonna pull up the logs probably and see if I can get some more information to everybody here. I'm gonna wait for my production teammate to pull it up on stream as well. I do hear you. Okay. Right then and there, I can see Haas really put out some crazy damage, 543 DPM. As well as Top Frag with 29 kills. I mean, that's no eggs numbers for people who've been watching the stream for a little bit now, but I mean... with that though, we can really just see like the amount of control that Holden had over his Ubers versus Miken Sweets. I think that really showed in this moment in time. Although, with players being as new as they are, you can't really fault them, I think, necessarily on this type of number, because Holden's putting out 1,000 heals per minute. Miken Sweets is putting down almost 800, and this is probably primarily due to the amount of deaths that Miken Sweets has. We can see that Miken Sweets still dying less than, I think, most other people on his team. Oh yeah, but definitely less than everyone else on his team. But Holden died the least on the server, and I think the medic difference there is what really makes that. But at the same time, well done to both teams. That was a gripping match. I really enjoyed it. I know production did as well, even if we had a little bit of a graphics mishap. I'm not entirely sure as to what else there is to say here. I think TF2CC is putting out amazing work. I think everyone should come through and see if they can participate somehow. If they are not a player in TF2CC, perhaps they'd attempt to want to coach or donate, because I know that it takes a lot of money to run these types of tournaments and a lot of people to run these types of tournaments. Speaking of donations, again, if you're interested in following or subscribing to Fireside Cast using your Prime function, on your Amazon Prime account, then let me know, because I'm excited to hear about that and how that works, because I don't know yet. So you have to show me how it's done. I think that's everything that I have to do here on stream today. I hope everyone had a wonderful time. I know that I did, at least. And that's what matters. So with that, I hope everyone has a wonderful night. Play it safe. Have a good time. Have a wonderful time. This is out from Fireside Cast. I'm Antlers. We're joined with Resin / Dr. _ on production. And GG's all around.